Hello, friends. It is I. How are you? I hope the sound balance and everything is okay. I fiddled around with a few things off stream. How are you? Angel Faye, hello. Exile Faye, hello. And of course, Shagraz, hello. How are you, friends? How was your weekend? What are you up to today? It is very, very hazy um, where I am right now. We had a late start to summer, which in some ways was good because it meant that we got a lot of rain during the first part of summer. So the wildfires started late this year. Great. But now there are several fires near us, which means that it has just been. There's basically just a wall of white outside my window right now. Can't see the mountains, so it's a little bit dreary, but hopefully it's supposed to rain a bit this week, so hopefully that will clear out some of the particles. Finished yesterday writing the last chapter. Angel Faye, that's amazing! Congrats! I hope that you are celebrating finishing. AB Coffee, hello, how are you? So yeah, if I seem a little... If I seem a little slow or dreary today, it's just because it's gray and I can't see my mountains. But oh, you guys, I promised I would show you. So last week I mentioned that I bought myself some slippers because my feet hate me now. I'll turn the music down ever so slightly. So I got these really cute unicorn slippers, and they came on Sunday. They're super cute. They even have little tails. So I will put them on and show you what they look like when they're on. They're super cute. Now relaxing a bit and preparing for NaNoWriMo. Good call, Angel Faye. Good call. I have my nano project all planned out as well. Sorry about the motion here. Can I get, there we go. Look how cute they are. They got their little horns and they got their the little tail on the back. And now my feet are much happier. They're a little upset with me because I did my exercise bike yesterday and I maybe shouldn't have. But I hadn't done it in a while and I was like, I want to try and get back to my exercise. And my feet were like, I don't like this. So I might have to not do it still for a while. But, cute little slippers. Hello, Woof, how are you? That's right, we're starting a brand new novel today. Oh my goodness. Gonna write my first fantasy novel for Nano. Angel Faye, that sounds awesome. I'm going to be continuing my Aravalia Chronicles for Nano. I'm actually starting writing book 10, which sounds insane to me, next Monday. So that's crazy. That's happening. I'm gonna be writing books 10 and 11 to the end of this year, so we'll be working on that for Nano. I've done some calculations of how much work I need to get done in the year to hit all of my goals, and it's a little bit crazy. So we'll see if it actually happens, but yeah, it's crazy to me that I'm starting a book 10 on Monday. That'll be my longest series to date. Going back to my mermaids today. Nice. I am awake. I am also awake, Woof, and I have coffee. Brand new novel day is 8K words minimum industry standard, or so I've decided. We are probably not gonna hit 8K today. We're probably gonna aim for 4, for anywhere between 3 and 4. We're gonna write 2 scenes today, which is a little bit different with my bigger novel projects. I usually go for 1 scene per writing session, but for this novel, in order to fit it into the time that I have for it, I have to do 2 scenes during every writing session. Now, I don't expect this to be quite as complex or expansive as my big novel projects, such as Aravalia Chronicles, which is insanely complex. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to rush through it. 8K was my biggest day, nonstop word vomit. Yeah, I can, if I were to write in the morning and again in the afternoon, I probably could hit 8K. But I'm breaking it up across a couple days so that I can stream each day. So tomorrow afternoon we'll do our second writing session and write hopefully chapters 2 and 3. Halo Banshee, hello, how are you? Let's do a stretch. Oh my goodness, I was exhausted after. Oh, sorry for the yawn. I feel you, AB Coffee. It takes a lot of brain power to write that many words. Oh my god. Sorry, as you can tell, I've had like 2 sips of coffee today. And we've got a hydrate from Halo. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm going to get out my iPad and see if I can get my white noise working. I haven't had to do this on stream in a while, so we'll see how it goes. But I actually, one of the things that I did last night as final preparation for writing this novel today was that I went on mynoise.net, which is where I get all of my white noise from, and I picked a custom white noise to play for this project. If you're on mynoise.net, the one that I chose, I always use Tin Roof Rain, because I like to have rain sounds on when I write. But the one that I chose to sort of be my companion piece for this novel is called Conquistadors, and it has this really haunting quality to it. The one that I use for my Aravalia Chronicles is called Telecaster Riffs, I believe. It just has a very Dahmerin quality to it. So let me switch my headphones over to my iPad and see if my white noise will cooperate today. So luckily with Chrome, I can bookmark something on my computer and then I can load it on my iPad, which I really like. Is it not loading that one? Do I have to go log into the website? Lumi, hello! I can't hang out right now, but I wanted to say hi to my favorite streamer. Oh my gosh, Lumi! I'm so honored to be your favorite. Thank you for dropping in to say hi. We're hopefully going to be writing here in a few minutes. I just have to see if I can get my white noise to cooperate with me today, which it doesn't like to do. Someday I'm gonna figure out how to play more than one type of sound on my computer without it playing on stream. But until then, I've just got a lot of spinning happening on my iPad. So yeah, I will say, before we start, that I think I mentioned this, so for anyone who missed the whole process, we've basically spent the last 3 weeks outlining world building and character building for this particular project. And here it goes. I actually wrote like 11,000 words of this project like way back in college, which is kind of where I originally got the idea from, and then I just kind of forgot about it because I didn't know, sorry, I'm still fighting with my white noise. I didn't know what to do with it. I used to just write whatever was in my brain. Case in point, I'll actually open, whoops, wrong file. I'll actually open the file and closed my other window, which is annoying. So I wrote this back in college. It is, Only a little over 11,000 words long. I think it's like 4 chapters. Yeah. And I didn't plan any of this. I just sort of was writing it in between classes, just kind of doodling, whatever, whenever it felt good. Are you kidding me? Okay, great. It's my white noise does not want to play today. It's very annoying. So I just kind of was doodling whatever felt good, and I got to a point where I was like, hey, I have no idea what's happening with this plot, and in order to actually make this into a novel, I would have to, I don't know, have some more than just a vague idea of where it's going. So I kind of set it aside and was like, someday I'll do this thing. And then I just never did until now. So that was... I don't have the original file creation date anymore because when I put everything on this hard drive back in March, it gave everything the creation date of the day that I copied over everything from my hard drive. But I believe I originally started this in, I want to say 2008? Maybe? Bri, hello! Is it Bri? It's Bree. I said, sorry, we have a Bri that hangs out on Flutterstream, and I get your names mixed up because I'm horrible with names. Bree, hello! How are you? I hope the words flow. Fingers crossed I can catch the tail end. Unfortunately, today is so busy, haven't been able to write for a while. Had to go to the ER for a toothache. Lumi, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you're not in any pain. And hopefully we get to catch up with you soon. I'll be back tomorrow and Thursday again as well, so if today is busy, no worries. Why does my white noise hate me so much? And if I can get it to load, is it going to play for more than 5 seconds? It's 90% loaded. I was glad that I didn't have to do this for a while, and again, if I knew a way to play this without playing it on stream on my computer, it would be so much easier. It would make my life so much easier. But for some reason, it hates loading on my iPad. Started physical therapy too. Been writing and making art. Nice! Been off work this last week and a half. Been suffering with a back injury. Oh no! Back injuries are the worst. I really hope that you're feeling better, Bree. And I hope that you're taking care of yourself as well. I know one of the reasons why Ghost and I are raising money to buy new chairs is because this chair gives me horrible back pain if I'm not very careful. And I have a pad that I use for my back as well. I've been relaxing and doing a lot of self-care. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. It's so important. I think we really, really underestimate how important it is to take care of ourselves, especially if you are feeling pain or have injured yourself, because if you don't give it time to fully heal, that injury will keep getting exacerbated, right? Like you might start to feel better and then you'll start to feel worse again. Let's see if it plays for longer than 30 seconds this time. I may have done it. I may have succeeded at getting my white noise to start. It's a really cool sound. So like I said, I'm using soundscape called Conquistadors and one called Tin Roof Rain. And it's ultra ambient. So this is what I'm going to be listening to. You guys get the cool chill music from Owned on stream, because I can't play this on stream. I don't have permission. But I like to have rain noise when I write, because it makes me feel super creative. Showed up at work on Thursday crying and my boss sent me home. Kudos to boss, because I know so many bosses who would just be like, no, you have to figure it out. If your employee is in pain or sick or something, please give them the ability to rest and get better, because they can't do good work for you otherwise. They're giving me time off to heal. That is awesome and amazing. Like, that is the sign of a good work environment, if they are letting you take the time that you need. Especially with a back injury, like, that can become a full body problem. And I think we don't really realize how much our back and torso affect us until we hurt them. Because if your torso is hurting, if your ribs are hurting, if your back is hurting, it can be every breath, every movement, everything you try to do, especially if you're lifting, walking, traveling, anything like that. Please, please, friends, if you have pain in somewhere in your body, please listen to it. I have been dealing with foot pain for like 2 weeks now, and it sucks, but I'm trying my best to listen to my body, to every time I feel pain, to not do that thing that causes me pain anymore. And it's so, so important. Like, even little pains can turn into big pains if we ignore them. That's my spiel. They realized how bad I was bending over backwards to make sure I stay. That makes me feel so good, especially being a caregiver. Yes, absolutely. And I think, I mean, I've talked about this on stream before, but we have this unhealthy idea in our society today that you have to be working no matter what. And that it doesn't matter if you're sick or if you're hurt, like, you have to find the energy to get to your job. And it shouldn't be that way. We are most productive when we are healthy, when we are rested, when we are not hurting ourselves to do our work. And I think the more places that realize that, like, the better. So, I'm so glad that you're taking care of yourself. Seriously, it's so important. And I hope you have a speedy recovery. Obviously, if you're doing some physical therapy, I know that takes time. But hopefully you get to the point where it's not causing you pain anymore relatively quickly. I know that doesn't necessarily mean, like, no more pain doesn't necessarily mean everything's fine, go right back to your previous amount of activity. But it's certainly a lot easier to deal with your day if you're not in constant pain. Physical therapy is helping already. I can already feel my muscles loosening up. It's muscle strain. Yes. Been doing stretches and yoga. Yoga is so, so good for anything muscle or nerve related. I started doing yoga actually just to relax, and help me sleep better. But what I've found is it's really good for stretching my spine. If I'm having a nerve pinch somewhere, like when I had the nerve pinch in my arm, when I had the nerve pinch in my foot, and when I've hurt my back, light yoga, just gentle stretching. And you should never, if you're doing yoga, you should never cause yourself pain. Like, you should always adjust the pose so that you're comfortable and eventually get into the full pose as you work up the ability to do it. And it's very, very good for you. It's very, very good for any of those little body pains and just general health as well. Like, it's just a really good way to make sure that your muscles and your nerves are sort of moving in the right spaces. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but when I pinched the nerve in my arm, I learned about something called threading, which is essentially a stretch that you do to make sure that your nerve is threading through the tunnel properly. And yoga is really good for that because it helps you move to the full extent of your muscles, but also it's just a full body sort of mindful experience. So highly recommend. Even if you don't have body pain, highly recommend. I'm waiting for meds to help with it. I do gentle stretching. It feels good enough. Yeah, exactly. Yoga is the sort of thing where when you first start doing it, it is gonna, your muscles are gonna ache. because you're using them in a different way. But I find that if I have a little bit of aching in the morning and I do some gentle yoga, I always feel better in the afternoon. So, and I mean, obviously, like I said, honor your body if you're not feeling the ability to do that kind of stuff, because I know I've seen a lot of people post yoga for menstrual cramps, and I've also seen a lot of people be like, I can't tie myself into a pretzel if I have menstrual cramps. Like, first of all, any yoga video that's for that kind of thing is not gonna have you pretzeling yourself because it wouldn't be comfortable. But also, if you don't feel up to doing yoga when you have cramps, like, I have a really nice video that I sometimes use when I have cramps that involves pillows. And the idea is that you kind of pad yourself with pillows and do like gentle stretches over the pillows and blankets. It's really super comfy. I don't always use it, but sometimes it feels really good. So sometimes you just need to find like the gentle thing that feels good for you. Good day, leader. How are you? Thank you for dropping by. We're about to start a new novel. I'm focusing on my art and writing while I have this time off, editing, so I thought I'd come say hey. Hi, nice. Good luck with edits. I am finishing up the last of my edits this week off stream because I'm doing late pass edits on the first 3 books of the Aravalia Chronicles. Woof, if you're still listening, I'm rewriting one of those scenes that you wanted me to fix today, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to find a way to make that work a little bit better. And then after this week, I'm done with edits. I shouldn't say for the whole year. If I finish in time, we might try to edit this book, Everyone's Child. Someone's Suffering Child is the name of the first. Someone's Errant Child is the name of the first book. Can't even remember my own naming scheme. We might edit this, but other than that, I'm done with edits for the year. I will be editing and then I will be writing draft 2 eventually. Good luck. Edits are always the hardest part for me. So I feel like that's the time when all writers need the most cheering, is when you're doing edits. Just dragged myself out of bed and now I have some unhealthy food and drink. Well, I just dragged myself out of bed not too long ago too, leader, so cheers. I have coffee, which I know you don't like, but I'll drink to you anyway. And as long as you're doing what you need to do to get up and around, that's the most important thing. I've been struggling with focusing on the edits, but it's getting a little easier the more I get into it. Edits are so hard. Like, a lot of people think writing is the hardest part, but I think editing is the hardest part, because at least when you're writing, you have a lot of freedom, right? If things aren't quite going the way you want, you can just change direction, you can just do whatever, because you're gonna fix it later. And then edits are when you fix all that stuff, so you have to be a lot more concise. And you have to deal with sort of what you have and what you need. Like, you have to make a lot of those decisions that you can ignore during the early drafting process. So in my opinion, it's just much harder to do edits. But yeah, absolutely. I will always be here to cheerlead for anyone at any stage, but especially if you're editing. Writing is so easy for me, but editing is the hard part for sure. Same. Absolutely same. Especially because I'm the kind of person who's like, that's for editing me to worry about. And then editing me is like, thanks, this is a train wreck. Hey, you're around here, leader. Got up and plopped in my chair. Look, I plopped my butt in my chair, and I'm here. I'm around. It's good, it's all good. Sometimes you don't have to do spectacular stuff in the morning if you're not a morning person. Okay, so I don't know that I'm gonna use any of this, but to give you a sort of a preview of the original, it starts with, she moved slowly, lurching along the paved path a foot or two, then pausing before lurching forward again, step by agonizing step. We're not gonna use that sentence, it's bad. It's not bad, but it's not first sentence material. Her face was twisted into a mask of pain, and she winced with each step. Her breathing was ragged, wheezing. The sun shone down on the park. It was a bright day, and the people moved about as they always did on a sunny day in such a cheerful place. They smiled and laughed and seemed to have not a care in the world. They moved about her as though she was not there. They did not seem to see her pain or the way she moved. No one murmured a single word about her. It's like they do not see her, an ethereal voice whispered. Also, the punctuation in this is all wrong. The people did not hear this either. They could not. They move about her as though she does not exist. So we're gonna go with the same concept, but I came up with a much better opening. So first things first, I gotta save this as... Whoops, we're gonna go actually into the book. And then I'm actually going to, I use the same sort of format for when I write. So I'm just gonna grab this. Now, we are not going to... It's probably just gonna have... I may do chapter titles later. I'm not entirely sure. And here we go. And this is where we're gonna start. So I might keep this open in case I want to peek at it a little bit, but I don't think I'm gonna use much of it. I had a thought the other day, I was like, perhaps the reason why it takes forever for us to finish the books, it's not because it's the writing that takes forever, but the editing. Absolutely. I feel like editing takes me 3 times longer than writing. Gonna play some games with friends, have a great stream, and good luck with the book stuff. Thanks, Leader. Thanks again for stopping by. Bree, thank you so much for lurking. Good luck with your edits. If you need any words of encouragement, please come back and let us know, because we are 100% here. I'm gonna start the sprint timer. And get the first sprint done, because by then we'll probably need to take a break. I fought so long with my white noise. I apologize about that. I need to start getting it working before stream again. It just always slips my mind. Alright, let's see if I can craft a better opening to this book this time around. Writing timer, 20 minutes on the clock. Let's have clicky clacks. I came up with a sentence last night and I need to see if I can remember it. Normally I just word vomit, but I do take a little extra time on my first lines. So if you see me staring intensely into space, that's what's happening. So I think this is a much better opening. We have the entire village turned out to bear witness as the woman stepped onto the main street of their town. But though her pain and suffering were obvious at a glance, not a single person stepped forward to offer their assistance. I just feel like that grabs attention a lot more than what we had the last time. Alright. That is the first timer. We're at 687 words, which is less than I would have liked, but pretty good considering I was taking my time with the opening this morning. And a pretty good start. I think this is much cleaner and more descriptive than what I used the first time around. Did all of 200? Hey, those were 200 words that you didn't have before, Exiled Fae. Sometimes it's not the quantity. Sometimes it's just the progress. I also am working off something that I wrote once before. So my notes for this scene were, the street is lined with villagers. As a pained woman walks by, two shadow-shrouded figures stand to one side commenting on her plights. Ciri and her mentor. Ciri believes that she is no one's child unless unwanted, which is basically where I stopped, but her mentor reveals that this girl is in fact the child of everyone's mother. So that's basically basically, I have the first half of the conversation. I now have to write the second half of the conversation. I don't think this scene is going to be ultra long. I kind of wanted to go for this really sort of vivid vignette for the opening, where we sort of get an introduction to Aleith, but from a distance, from someone who's watching her. And then we will switch to her perspective for the second half of the chapter and sort of get a more in-depth look at her thoughts and feelings and her suffering, because we've made it clear that she's struggling. And I don't think either of these scenes would be particularly long. I would actually just be fine with this whole chapter being around 3,000 words, because it would be, if it's about 1,500 words for each scene, that would be fine. And I'm actually pretty close to halfway done at that point, if we're really looking for something in that area. It doesn't have to be that long. I mean, I'm not necessarily aiming for something super short, but I'm not necessarily aiming for the scene to be 5,000 words either. I'm a big believer in letting things be as long or as short as they feel like they need to be. But in this case, I do think that shorter scenes will serve the opening better. So I am going to take a quick break, because it's hard to believe, but I think I've been streaming for an hour already. And I have to do an ad break so that hopefully people won't get pre-rolls if they come to the channel. So I'm going to take a quick AFK, use the restroom, reheat coffee, and then we'll come back and continue the scene. I think now that I've gotten into it a bit more, it should hopefully flow easier. I find it really hard to write descriptions and really easy to write dialogue. So I've gotten to the dialogue heavy part of the scene. It should go a little bit faster. So I will be right back, and we'll do more sprinting. I return. Oh gosh. Sorry, my voice 100% cracked there. I'm just keeping an eye out because my lovely friends Woof and Flutter and I, and possibly Vinyl in the future, fingers crossed, have started doing fun craft streams on Fridays on Flutter Dye's channel. And I ordered some cross stitches to do for my friends, and I'm hoping one of them will arrive today. So I'm just keeping an eye on the door. I've been working on, kind of grab it here. I've been working on this one for a while now. You can see that I've done the two wolves. It's a little bit wrinkly from being folded for a while, and now I'm working on, there's these two, there's supposed to be two of them, although you can only see one at the moment. Birch trees that are on the side, and I'm almost done with this one. You can see I've sort of roughed in. This is the very top of the canvas, and this the bottom of the tree here is the very bottom of the canvas. So I'm just trying to finish this tree before I start a new kit. Yeah. I kind of fell out of the cross-stitch game. I was unable to stream today because I was too tired. Kiki, I hope you're taking care of yourself. If you're not feeling it, it's a good idea to skip stream, because if you don't have the energy, it will just absolutely drain you to be on camera. But I'm glad you stopped by. How are you doing aside from being tired? Hang on, I gotta so yeah, we're working on those. I'm working on those. On Flutter's stream, Wolf has been doing some crocheting, and Flutter is hoping to unpack her projects to have more of them available to her this week. So if you want some chill crafting and discussion, that happens on Flutter Dye's channel on Fridays. That's when I turn off my brain after all the writing. I'm about to start to fix up my Twitch channel. Well, good luck, Kiki. Hopefully we can provide a nice chill background for you while you work. I feel like I should talk about something exciting happening in my life during the break, but I also kind of feel like nothing super exciting is happening right now. Ghost is back to work because the school is back in session. So it's his second full week. Well, his second week, his first full week actually, because they only had a 4-day week last year. So but it's his second week back with students, their first full week of school. So he's been much more tired in the evenings when he gets home, so he's been streaming a little less because he's readjusting to being out of the house all day. I need tea, BRB. Exiled Faye, tell us what kind of tea you're getting when you come back, and also enjoy. So that's happening, and like I said, it's really dreary. It's so weird looking out the window right now because the sun is very bright. I can sort of see it as like a diffused brightness in the sky, but it's just white out there. And it's not cloud. It's smoke haze. So on days like this, when it's really weirdly hazy and you can't see the mountains in our area, it makes me feel really like tired and a little odd. Like, if you've ever had that like Sunday afternoon feeling where you're like, you know that you have to get ready to go back to the regular routine in a couple of hours and you just feel really blah. I call it the Sunday afternoon feeling, although you can have it any time of the week. I have that sort of blah feeling from it being really weirdly hazy. I will say it's at least white and not red. last year, when the fires were really bad during wildfire season, the skies turned this weird red color, like red-orange, and it looked a little bit like the apocalypse. I'm not gonna lie. I would wake up every morning and look out the window and be like, yes, feels like the end times, and then I would try not to look out the window for the rest of the day. So it's at least not doing that. It's still a little weird. Sorry. See, like I said, I feel really weirdly tired. And it's not quite the same as like when it's overcast, because sometimes when it's overcast it feels really, really dreary, but it's just this weird like if you ever saw the Neverending Story movie, I'm dating myself because I watched that all the time when I was a kid, apparently. If you've ever seen the Neverending Story movie, the nothing and how it kind of looked when the nothing would like encroach on a place, that's kind of what my sky looks like right now. I wish I could show you guys, but if I turn the camera toward the window, it's just gonna be this bright. You can't really see anything. But yeah, so hopefully it will rain soon. I feel like hoodie weather is right around the corner. If it wasn't so like smoky outside, I would actually open the windows right now. But it's smoky and I don't want to let the smoke in. Thunderstorms possible after 3 p.m. apparently. But the high this week is 26 compared to like 29 last week. So soon I will be able to wear my hoodie all the time and have warm blankets and have hand socks. Again, bring back the hand socks. Exiled Faye, what kind of tea are you drinking? So yeah, I'm just looking forward to, I'm actually kind of looking forward to the fall rains coming back. I think some of my music stopped. There it goes. That was weird. Tea Earl Grey hot. Good choice, Exiled Faye. Have you ever had, why is it being so weird? Okay, I'm gonna have to reload this because it's just playing a weird bell sound in my ear now. Have you ever had Lady Grey? It's like Earl Grey, but it has, like orange peel in it, and it's super good. I really love it. My white noise is just not cooperating with me at all today. Why you gotta be like that, iPad? Why you gotta be like that? I walked away for a second and now it's mad at me. Not recently? Fair. I have an inordinate amount of tea, so I always have Earl Grey. I actually have, I think, like 4 different variations of Earl Grey right now, but I always have Earl Grey and I always have Lady Grey, because Lady Grey is my favorite. But I use Earl Grey for my iced tea a lot. So I actually have regular Earl Grey, I have Lady Grey, which is exactly the same, but it has the orange in it. And then I have a tea from David's Tea called the Countess of Seville, which is like Earl Grey, but it's a green tea. And it also has a little bit of that like orange flavor going on. There we go. Maybe this will work now. And then I have the Red Earl, which is like Earl Grey, but it's made from rooibos base, which is really nice. I have a ton of custom blends from friends and festival vendors. That sounds awesome, Exiled Fae. I have one custom blend that I made for myself from Adiago teas, and it's called Domarin's Dream. It's a tea for my character Domarin, and it has I can actually go get it and show it to you guys. I love rooibos. I discovered it late in life, and I'm like, where was this all of the time? Let me go get the Domarin tea. So I think this is actually like still on Adiago, but this is it. It's Domarin's Dream, and it has some mate powder in it so that it has caffeine. But I believe it's basically a rooibos base with blood orange and mate in it. Let me see if I can actually... Let me see if I can actually show it to you guys, if I can remember... if I can remember my login. I did remember it. This is it right here. This is my custom tea blend that I made for Domarin. That you can actually order if you ever really want to. The art was done by Lomi, who pops into our chat from time to time, and was used with her permission. It's inspired by orange creamsicle because that is Domarin's favorite treat. Perfect for the brooding elf man and all of us. I wrote that at some point in time. I think it will tell you what's in it. Yes. So it's a vanilla rooibos base, and then it has blood orange for the orange flavor and a spice mate in it so that it has caffeine. It's really good if you just put a little bit of honey in it to bring out the orange. You might also like honeybush if you can find it. Oh, that sounds good. I think I have tried honeybush once or twice, but I don't think I have any in my collection. I did just order a bunch of stuff from David's Tea, but they haven't shipped it to me yet, and I'm starting to get really annoyed, so I might have to call them and be like, are you gonna send me my stuff, or what? But yeah, I think I'm the only one who's ever purchased this tea. Ideally someday I want to make teas for a bunch of my characters. I already have an idea for a tea that I want to do for my character Rose, but I just haven't had a chance because Adiago is US based and I'm in Canada, so it's a little bit harder for me to get their tea. So I haven't had a ton of ability to order more custom blends yet, but they have this really cool feature on Adiago where you can make your own blends, and if you're a writer or an artist or whatever, you can create fandom blends, and they actually have a ton of them. Yeah, they have a section. They have a whole section for it. So they have fandom blends, and these are mostly blends that are made by fans of things. So they're not necessarily officially made by the company, but if you are like an artist or a writer or whatever, you can make your own. And it's super cool. They have tons of really cool ones in here. So I know at one point there was Critical Role fandom ones. I don't know if they had to take those down, but I know that they existed at one point. There's a ton of Doctor Who ones. Like, people make tons of Doctor Who blends. So, yeah, you can make your own, or you can check out the ones that other people have done. There's Sailor Moon ones, which I think is super cool that people have made Sailor Moon ones. And I know Adiago has a blend for each zodiac sign as well. So if you order from them and tell them your birthday, they will send you a sampler of their zodiac tea for your zodiac sign. I've been going through a pack of herbal ones myself. Nice, AB Coffee. I always love to hear about people trying new teas. So yeah, if you guys ever have any recommendation, I'll have to look Exiled Fae, because I think I can probably get a honeybush tea. I think I had one in, I did a I'm sorry, words just fled my brain. I did a subscription pack to David's Tea, and I think there was one honeybush tea in there, but I used it up because they only give you like 25 grams. So it might be worth adding to my collection. I definitely have a bunch of rooibos teas that I have gathered, just because in my youth I didn't know the joys of rooibos tea, and now I do. And the nice thing too is that most rooibos teas are also caffeine free, so you can drink them in the evening. I have to stop drinking caffeine at a certain point in the day or I don't sleep. So evening teas have to be fruit or herbal. Alright, I'm gonna force myself to get back to the writing before I talk way too much about tea. But yeah, if you guys are ever interested in drinking tea that I made specifically to Domran's taste, you can find that. Con202, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. We're just about to start a new sprint. Let me get you a shout out. What were you working on today on stream, and how did it go? We just had an interlude where we talked about tea. I'm drinking coffee, but we're talking about tea. Because that's what we do here. So if you have any tea stories or favorite blends, please share. More bucks, more words. Author Goddess, hello, how are you? I was talking about, I actually, on Adiago Teas, they have this ability where you can make your own tea blend. And this is my character, Domran. This is the tea that I made for him. It's based on orange dreamsicles, because that's his favorite flavor. He doesn't like sweet things unless it's orange cream. And so I made this tea. It's got a vanilla rooibos base, and then blood orange and some spiced mate in it. It's really good. Ready to do something, I guess? That's the spirit of the day. Author Goddess. In my area, we've got tons of smoke in the sky, so it just feels weird. I'm not gonna lie, the day feels weird. We've only done one sprint so far, so we're about to start our second sprint. I'm working on a brand new novel that we actually outlined and world built and planned on stream, and now we're actually doing the first scene, and it feels really good. Continuing to work on the pitch deck, but ramping up to enter draft 2 of the pilot script soon. Nice! That sounds awesome. I hope that the words are flowing for you today. I'm gonna get a little bit quiet because I'm gonna start the sprint timer. But for anyone who's working, I hope the words flow for you. And please feel free to keep chatting in chat. I will catch up at some point. Let's do the clicky clackies. I'm working off of an older draft that I wrote like 10 years ago, so if you see another different document with other writing in it pop up, that's what's happening there. No better feeling than cracking into proper writing after outlining? Absolutely. Bard Owl! Thank you so much for those bits. How are you, and what are you up to today? I've actually been doing a lot of edits lately, so it feels really, really good to be just raw writing again, because it is actually my favorite part of the process. Working. I hope it's at least an easy day. I won't say the other word because that will curse you. It's been extremely stressful recently. I'm sorry to hear that, Bard. I know you guys are running a small business, and I know that that means there's a lot of work and only a few hands to do it. So I hope that things settle into a more regular routine for you. AB Coffee, how has work been going for you? Have you been spirited off to fewer meetings these days? Double fisting coffee and iced cucumber lemonade while catching up with various things. That sounds like an interesting combo, Author Goddess. I hope it's giving you the energy you need to get the things done. All the things. My boss left the company, so I have a new boss that kind of took over her position, but my old boss did way too much work for the company, so new boss is kind of like, okay, yeah, that sounds accurate, and I'm doing more action items to help out and less bore me to death meetings. Well, as long as you're happy with what you're doing, I think that's the important thing. I know you didn't really enjoy those meetings. I kind of got the impression that you wished that there were less meetings, so hopefully it's been a good trade. Oh, it was Steam letting me know that something on my wish list is on sale. Say important without saying important. Paramount, maybe? Whoops. Enjoy your lurk, Bard. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you get a good break for lunch. It's all good. I'd rather do what I'm doing now than like 5 to 6 years ago in my career. Well, that's a good way to look at it, AB Coffee. I consider myself very fortunate because I get to do the thing that I love to do every day. And sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's exhausting, but it's always rewarding. So, you know. Sable, hello! Thank you so much for the raid! Let me give you a shout out. Ooh, you've been working on tabletop RPGs today. Roween, thank you so much for the follow. I almost said the raid. Let me know if I said your name correctly. Xandra writes, hello, hello, welcome, welcome. We're just in the middle of a sprint, so I'm gonna be sporadic in catching up with the chat, but how are you guys? Oh, like the tree. Okay, so it's Rowan. I have a friend named Rowena, so I wasn't sure if it had the that extra sound in it or not. Doing mostly okay. Glad to hear that. Xandra writes, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Keeping busy, mostly not writing, but puttering away at house jobs and RP posts. Nice! Housework, important to keep up with. Not my favorite, but important to keep up with. I need to get involved in more of the role plays in the Game of Tones Discord. I'm always a little gun shy about diving in because I never want to interrupt anything. But I have been watching. I've been lurking. New to the Discord and considering joining the RP. I was able to do a little bit of roleplay at the wedding event over the weekend, and I really, really enjoyed it. Everyone was really welcoming. I started a server because I wanted to run a game and never did it. Oh no, Exiled Faye, you should totally run a game. It's amazing. Especially if you're inviting people from the Twitch community. Everyone has been super cool and chill and welcoming since I started hanging out. I feel like I would need to put together a group from scratch, like to homebrew my settings, and my D&D crew is so set in their ways. Oh, I like to homebrew my settings and my D&D crew is set in their ways, but I'm like, trust me, guys, and they're like, but if I can't have my wizard, sorcerer, tiefling from day one, I don't wanna. Oh, that kind of sucks. I've had a few discussions, a few similar discussions with people that I group with, having some really specific ideas. I actually had a player who wanted to script an event, and we kind of talked about why that wouldn't necessarily be fair to the rest of the players if we scripted an outcome for an event and didn't give the rest of the players a chance to affect it. But I came up with some really cool ideas that I obviously couldn't share all of them with him because spoilers, but at the end, the player was actually really excited and we decided to go ahead with doing the plot. So hopefully you'll find some people who are willing to give those ideas a try. Because I know that I used to be really like, I would play one or two types of races or types of classes, and I was really like always set in how I wanted to develop my characters. And since I started playing 5th edition, I've really branched out and tried a lot of classes that I didn't try before. Like, I have a human warlock, and I have a paladin, one of my first paladins. And I've been really, really enjoying playing new things and like finding new niches to be in the group. And I'm really glad I did that because it's opened a lot of possibilities in the game to me. I very briefly got to play a dwarf barbarian too, which I hope I get to play that character again. We sadly had to drop out of the game she was in because we had so many things drop on us this summer that we just couldn't keep up with the pace of the game. But yeah, trying new things is good. Like it opens you up to new possibilities. It's actually really fun. The premise was loose but centered on discovering magic in the world. Oh, that sounds really cool. But they didn't want to start out playing in a mundane world. Was that kind of like the hang up? I think it would be really cool to like play in a world like ours that was like just discovering magic, and you could be like one of the people pioneering like magic. I just started running a game. We're actually going to do our second session this weekend. I'm super excited about it. And I created this game called Tales of Kryptonia. And it's kind of about, it's a galactic empire, but we're using D&D 5th edition. So it has all the elements of D&D 5th edition, but instead of planes, everything is planets. And the players travel between planets on these hyperspace trains, which are super awesome, and I'm super excited to start doing some of the mechanics of that. Basically, there was this ancient civilization that built this galactic empire, which has been labeled Kryptonia because nobody knows anything about it. And the players are basically trying to find artifacts in ruins that will tell them about this ancient civilization. So you can do so many different things. Like, that's what I like about D&D, is you can do so many different things with it and just really explore and get like just do really interesting things. I see that the timer ran out, so I'll count our words in a minute. Yeah, modern day settings are totally fun, and I don't think that it detracts from the magic aspects to necessarily have like tech too. I think you can blend the two, but I do really love the idea of like just discovering magic, of it being like something that you don't really know anything about, but suddenly it's in the world and you're like dealing with it. I think that would be super cool. I like playing non-humans, so I understand a bit. Same, I usually do like playing non-humans too, but I tried my first human character, like my first human D&D character recently, and I'm really enjoying her. She's an old lady warlock. Ephema, she's one of my accent redeems, actually. And she became a warlock in her 60s, and she's super awesome. She's my party granny character. I love her. She is a Pact of the Chain warlock. She has a familiar who is a little blue pseudo-dragon named Ikari, who is her sweet little dragon baby, and she's amazing. She gets up to antics, and I love it. So if you need gun stuff, Rob D20 Modern, nice. Old Granny Warlock, yeah, she was totally an off-the-cuff character. I just kind of came up, I wanted to play like a Woods Witch, and I just kind of was like, what's a bunch of stuff that I haven't really done in D&D before? And she just kind of gelled. She has a snail. The lore is that she has a snail who is a polymorphed person in the form of a snail who's supposed to be spying on her, but she doesn't know that he's not a real snail. So she carries this snail around in her pocket, Callum. But she has no idea that it's actually a dude who is not thrilled about being trapped in snail form. And we've just like developed all this off-the-cuff lore about this random snail from her garden. And that's what I love about D&D, is that you can just do all that random stuff, and it's so much fun. Snail versus Slug side quest. So the funny thing is, if anyone has ever watched Critical Role, during the pandemic, Critical Role started doing this thing called Narrative Telephone, where one of them would tell a story and then the next person could only watch the video once and then they had to repeat the story. And my husband and I used to love, like, every time the new videos came out, we would sit down for the evening and like have snacks and watch the new Narrative Telephone and just laugh our asses off. And so last year for my birthday, my husband decided to do one. So he recruited some members of our D&D community, and he put together this story for a Narrative Telephone, and then they did the thing, right? They sent it to each other and recorded, and of course it devolved like insanely. It was hilarious. I had no idea this was happening. They surprised me with the video for my birthday. And the story that he came up with was based around Ephima's snail, Callum, being an agent who was polymorphed to spy on her for some reason, because the people he works for think that she knows something, and how he just thought she was crazy and wanted to get away. And so the community has sort of grabbed onto this story of the snail and turned it into this whole, like, secret underground lore that my character doesn't even know about. She just thinks he's a snail. It's really fun. I was a squirrel for 4 sessions because the DM deemed my character to be much stronger than the others. Not as fun when you're a fighter and you're only there for fighting, but it's the only thing you can't do. So were you like unwillingly trapped as a squirrel? Or did the DM talk to you about it ahead of time? I would like to play a magical creature that got stuck in the real world and has to hide from humans and try to understand the human world. That would be so much fun, Xandra. I love that idea. Okay, so if it's an unwilling thing, it's not necessarily as fun. We've had some conversations in our Discord about how to balance if a party feels unbalanced. I don't think forcing one of your players to be a squirrel for a while would be a good way to handle that. Yeah, I mean, not everyone plays the game to min-max. I definitely don't. My characters are very inefficient. I tried to play, I did guest on Winds of Chaos and play a paladin, and I did it all kinds of wrong. But by the end of the session, I really did understand how paladins are supposed to work. God moding even as a DM is a pain and should be avoided. Totally. I think that, personally, my thought as a GM is I'm not there to control the players or to control their responses. My job is to create a world and to create a story that my characters, my players can interact with and explore, and to sort of pick up on the threads that they are sort of putting into their world or their characters or whatever, and sort of use those to weave a tapestry that they can then interact with and discover. You're not necessarily the the story overlord as a DM. You're more of a facilitator. You're facilitating what the others are trying to do, right? And sometimes you give them a direction, but sometimes you just kind of let them take the thread and run with it. That's kind of my perspective. Like, if I want to tell a story where I know everything that's going to happen, I'll write a novel. Because that's what I do when I write a novel. But I want to create an interactive story that my players are telling. It's collaborative and you are there to have fun. Exactly. That is exactly what tabletop role-playing games, and any role-playing game really, is all about. He had us do backstories and I submitted like a 3-page diatribe on how my character grew up, motivations, etc. A teammate said, "This is Orc, son of Orc, he is here." So that illustrates, like, there's two different kinds of players. Some players just want to show up and either interact with whatever's there and or smash things, and some players want to have a detailed backstory and you know, interact with, you know, like, some people want to have this thing from their past that they have to deal with, and some people are like, yeah, I have a hammer, I want to hit things, point me at the thing you want smashed. I did this thing once in a game. It wasn't D&D, but it was a tabletop role-playing game where my character went through this really traumatic experience where he was essentially kidnapped and tortured by a group of people, and we created a compel for him where if he saw anyone wearing the uniform of the people who kidnapped him, he had to roll a die. And depending on what number he rolled, he could not resist the urge to shoot to kill, because he had been through this traumatic experience. And we had this one session where we had isolated this guy and we were trying to question him, and he was wearing the uniform in question. And I rolled very poorly. And the DM was like, all right, you got to do the thing. And so out of character, I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. But in character, very cold-heartedly and detachedly, my character just shot this guy in the head that one of the other characters was trying to interrogate. Out of character, everyone was laughing. But in character, my husband's character turned to my character and was like, what the hell are you doing? What just happened? It was a great moment, but it was very much not what I would have chosen to do in the moment normally. But it made for such a memorable thing, especially because my husband is so good at, like, being in character all the time. So instantly his character, like, turned to my character and was like, what was that? What is wrong with you? And I just had to be like, I don't know what came over me, but, like, that guy's better off dead. Like, whatever. He was scum. And everyone else was like, we needed that information. What are you doing? So yeah, role-playing games. Guys, there's so many possibilities, and it's so much fun. It was interesting, too, because that particular character had, like, a very strict code of honor. But we wrote into that code of honor that essentially he had, because normally he wouldn't have shot someone who was disarmed. That was, like, part of his, like, personal code of conduct. But because he had such a traumatic experience, he essentially associated everyone in that mercenary company with what happened with him. And eventually we made it so that it was easier for him to resist shooting, like, the mooks. But for a couple sessions, there were a couple times where it was like, you just start shooting. And I was like, sorry, guys. Bam, bam, bam. And that's my D&D stories. How many words did we do in the last sprint? And, you know, sometimes it's really interesting. That's one of the things I really liked about Fate is sometimes it is really interesting to have an outside influence telling you, what if this happened? Because sometimes you wouldn't think about it. Like, you wouldn't think to do that thing, and it can be really fun. I love D&D stories, too. Man, I should just do a stream where we just talk about D&D sessions. Where did I... Where did I even stop last time, yo? Well, we know that that was like 600 and some odd words. I think maybe it was there. So, 553, definitely a little bit distracted there. I'm gonna go ahead and do another sprint right away because I still have another scene to write after this before lunch. And I've got about an hour left before I would normally eat lunch. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can finish off this scene and get the next scene started. So I might go quiet for a little bit, but please feel free to share your D&D and other RPG stories in the chat because I love reading them and I love talking about them. But yeah, I definitely think that the most important thing for D&D is that you're coming together as a group to tell a story together. It's not all about what one person wants, and it's definitely not all about the DM saying, you know, this is this and that is that. It's definitely about the group putting things together, and some people will contribute more and some people will contribute less depending on what type of player they are, and the GM balances that all out. And sometimes you give your characters a thread, your players a thread, and they pull on it, and sometimes they don't, and that's just how it goes. Don't tell about, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, welcome. Let's do more clicky clackies. How are you, my friend? What are you up to today? I actually think I'm right on the cusp of ending this scene. I just have to figure out where I want it to be. Just writing a little bit and now remembering some of my D&D adventures. Well, I'm glad we could bring up some good memories. And no worries if English is not your first language. We totally understand. We have other people who hang out. Our friend Neo the Comfy One is French. And he's always saying that his English is bad, but it's not. Your English looks great so far, but no worries at all. If you have any confusion with words, just let us know. I know that English is a hard language, and I don't speak any other languages, so I have nothing but respect for people who speak more than one. But I definitely think that English is not a well put together language. I took 3 years of French in high school, and I don't remember a lot of it, but I do remember that it felt much more organized in how its rules functioned, like much more uniform in how its rules functioned. English is all over the place because it borrows from so many different languages, so never worry. Even if you're a native English speaker and you have trouble with English, it's all good. Not sure if that's the best place to end that scene just yet, but that's a problem for editing me. A field of blood and glass. In the distant future, on a distant planet, war is a horrible memory that nearly tore the world apart. Now, alliances are tested and conflicts are solved with a once-a-decade gathering of leaders at the Tomb of Kings. There, rulers choose who to fight, who to aid, and how to continue their reigns in a labyrinth of the glass-encased bodies of their ancestors. This sounds amazing! Secrets are revealed, and strength of character is the greatest prize on the field of guerrilla warfare. Author Goddess, is this your project? That sounds so awesome. I want to read this. When can I read this? I love the idea that, like, that when, like, the rulers die, they go into, like, this labyrinth. I just came up with today. It sounds amazing. Oh my goodness. Good luck with it. Now, I usually come up with the design that I want to use in my chapter breaks. Which might sound weird, but it's one of my particular things is that I don't necessarily use the same one for each project. So, like, for this project, I have this little design, but one of my other ones had, like, eyes. Did I use the eye figure for them yet? Let's see. Oh, I didn't. That was like little vines. Did I use it for this one? I didn't. I didn't. Yeah, do that for that one. It would work really well. What did I use for this one? Oh. I know, weird random aside, but this is one of the things I like doing with my projects, is just to come up with a little chapter break thing. I like the idea of, like, eyes, since we have the Watchers. Oops. Definitely don't want you to do that. There we go. Pretty. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my styles to cooperate now because that'll save me a ton of time later. I love how people can come up with a synopsis like that right off the cuff. With me, it's more like the princess is trans, the other girl is an assassin, they live in a place that has a castle and maybe a forest, no a desert, no it's a forest again. Hey, I mean, everyone has a different method, right? 30k words later, I maybe have the setting figured out. Everybody works differently. I always have, like, a rough idea of what I want the story to be, but I very rarely actually write down my summary until much, much later in the process. So we finished the first scene, which was basically them introducing the main character and the fact that she's a goddess avatar. She's struggling to walk down the street for some reason we don't yet know. Now we're going to switch to our main character, Alea's perspective, and find out what's going on with her. I don't think we're using any more from in this. If I can't get a synopsis, I don't have enough to write it and I won't waste my time with it. Well, that's fair. Now I kind of want to stream today. Hey, if you're feeling it, go for it. I got into solo role-playing recently. It's like writing but with dice. I've always wanted to try that. I haven't yet. I should. My characters always disobey my summary. They keep ignoring me. Don Talabat, same. I can poke my characters as much as I want to try and get a story from them, and sometimes they listen, and sometimes they're like, nah. I just update my outline in between drafts to match what I actually did. If I figured too much of it out at the start, I don't have the urge to discover the story. So it's the difference between, like, planning and pantsing. I'm sort of a hybrid. I plan a little bit, but then I still just go off the cuff if it feels good. Sometimes when we're writing, the idea jumps to an epic level. Exactly. And sometimes it's better to just take that right-hand swerve and see where your characters take you. Like, I've had so many good experiences with doing that. I just tried to type the souls and typed those instead. Brains. I don't know any planners who don't allow for new thoughts plots to enter the story. Yeah, I mean, I know some people who basically just write an outline and then keep expanding it, like, into actual scenes, which for me, I don't think that would actually work for me. I like to have an outline and then just write whatever's in my brain. But everybody does things differently, and, like, that's the thing, right? Find what works for you. I always just know that, yeah, I've decided that this is gonna happen, but until it actually happens, it's up for debate. crisscross applesauce. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. I guess it's Apple SOS, but I assume it's applesauce. Welcome. What have you been up to today? I love that. I have a friend, I have two friends actually, who always refer to sitting cross-legged as crisscross applesauce. So I always love references to that. How was your stream? Just working as usual? Well, I see that you were writing today, so I hope the words flowed for you. We've just started a new novel. We are just into the second scene just now. I think it's going pretty well. Was just editing some of a manuscript today. Nice. I hope it went well. We were talking earlier about how I find edits to be the hardest part of the process myself, the hardest and slowest part. I've been doing a lot of edits recently as well. I'm actually looking forward to getting back into some raw creation because for me, edits are so hard. But I hope your manuscript is coming together the way you want it to. Sometimes writing to, I assume that's outline, isn't too smart. I wrote anything and it came up, oh, hand to keyboard. I wrote anything and it came up anchoring. I should save all these words. Yeah, actually, I've talked to people who write down their typos and use them for other things. How long have you been writing and how many books have you completed in this time? So I've been writing since, oh my gosh, 8th grade, 7th grade. I've been writing full time since 2013, 2013. I published my first book in 2014, Island of Lost Forevers. And I have finished several. I have several books, several series out. The Mystical Island trilogy is 3 books. The Dream Things True duology is 2. Eternity's Empire is 8. I just finished and published the last book of that last month. The Celestial Serenade is currently 9 books with 5 of them published. The 6th one is coming out next month. I have 3 of those that are finished, not published. My Arvalia Chronicles currently sits at 9 books written, 6 books edited, and 3 books have been through betas to get into that second pass. So I've written a considerable number of books. And yeah, I'm very fortunate that I get to do this full time. So I have sort of created a process that works for me. My big novels usually take about 3 years. So my Dreamer's July, my Celestial Serenade, my Arvalia Chronicles, each book takes about 3 years to complete. And then my smaller projects like Eternity's Empire and Everyone's Child, which we've just started, they usually take me about 6 months to complete one of those because they're usually shorter. So that's a rundown on me. What about you, Crisscross Applesauce? How long have you been writing? Please don't necessarily compare. I'm at year 4 of my current project. Not too bad. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes that long. I actually have a buffer that I've created for publishing, so I try to basically have my books finished like 2 years in advance. Otherwise, I write slow enough. I don't know how some self-published authors write a whole book in a month, and I don't know how they do it. I can't do that. This is my first attempt at fiction. All my other works are nonfiction. Interesting. So what genre are you writing your fiction in, Crisscross Applesauce? I've never done nonfiction. So I find that very interesting. I know they're very different beasts. I write sci-fi and fantasy. Like I said, I've been doing it since 7th grade, and I'm 37 now. So to give you some idea of how long I've been chipping away at words. So you self-publish and are able to maintain that as full-time gig? I am. Full disclosure, I don't make a ton of money from my books. My household income mostly comes from other sources. My husband works full-time as a high school teacher. And we also bought a house that we could rent out part of the basement so that we have income from other sources. So I am primarily supported without needing income from my writing. The goal is to eventually make a living wage off of my writing, but full disclosure, I have not yet figured out necessarily how to do that. I'm very, very fortunate to have an extremely supportive husband who understands how finances work and has been able to help me find a way to do this. So I would definitely say if you work a full-time job, don't necessarily run out and quit for self-publishing unless you're a marketing guru and know that stuff. I'm definitely good at the writing part and not good at the marketing part. But yeah, I am very lucky to be able to do the thing I love. And one of the reasons why I have so many projects finished is because I do this all day, every day, Monday to Friday, 9 in the morning till 9 at night. This is what I do. The trilogy is considered high fantasy. Nice! I love high fantasy. Ever submitted anything to an agent or a publication? Yes. I've queried several projects. I have gotten a few partial requests in the past. I decided to self-publish because I like the freedom of setting my own schedule, and basically just being able to do things the way I want to do them. I used to feel somewhat limited to ebooks, but I've since learned how to do paperbacks. And I have paperbacks of many of my works, and people are able to buy paperbacks of many of my works. I'm currently trying to figure out audiobooks. I'm in discussions with a few people. But it just ended up working better for me. I think traditional publishing is harder to break into, and I don't think it responds to trends as quickly as self-publishing authors can, because it takes the amount of time that it takes to get through the traditional process. But you do get the benefit of having the marketing experience and the marketing budget of a publishing house if they're willing to give you that boost, right? Most money does go towards their bestsellers, so I've heard many mixed experiences with traditional publishing. I don't necessarily think one is superior to the other. I think it's just what works for which people. I'm comfortable and happy with self-publishing, and that's why I do it. I'm working on my first query letter now, kind of intimidated. Good luck, Crisscross Applesauce. Queries are so hard. I would say don't get discouraged. It can be really daunting to throw queries out there into the world and not hear back right away, or also you'll start getting rejections. I once did queries and then like 6 months later had basically forgotten that I sent a query and got a rejection, and it was like, oof. So don't get discouraged. If you want to go the traditional route, just keep at it. Persistence is key. My brother is a published poet that now exclusively self-publishes. Nice! Traditional publishing doesn't often offer marketing. Some don't offer editing. Yes. I've heard a bunch of different experiences with traditional publishing. I've never done it myself, so I can't speak to firsthand experience. So I think it depends a lot on the publishing house and like how much. I definitely know that bestsellers get a lot of really good treatment. Mid-list authors, maybe not as much. Like there's just been a lot of talk about Barnes & Noble even having less space on their shelves for mid-list authors these days. So definitely do a lot of research. Know what the pitfalls of each side are. The pitfall of self-publishing is that you basically have to have your own budget and do everything for yourself. But I'm trying to learn marketing. I'm trying. They don't often do marketing, so many trad published authors have switched to self because they were doing the marketing themselves. Anyway, yes, that is true. It does help if you can sort of get the ball rolling with a traditionally published book and then switch to self-publishing. I find that gaining momentum, gaining traction, getting my work in front of people, that's the thing I struggle with the most. I have my short stories rejected well over 100 times. I'm used to that. You'll be fine then, crisscross applesauce. You will be absolutely fine. I definitely found that the most daunting thing about querying was not getting like super worked up over the rejections. I was a much less confident writer at the time that I was querying. And it definitely helped me develop that sort of I want to say that reckless fortitude of like, whatever, I'm just gonna write this thing and be happy with it. Ooh, Dahmer and Cam. Xandra, we have 3 options. We have several Dahmerins. We have cute angry Dahmerin. We have cute grumpy Dahmerin. And we have, sorry about the motion, we have cute plushy Dahmerin. So you get to pick which one you want. Oops. Sorry about that. And I might take a quick break because I haven't done ads in a while, and I think I need to do another quick 30 seconds of ads to prevent pre-rolls. Also, Tiberian, hey, how are you? So I will do the ads quick, and then you tell me which Dahmerin you would like, and we'll have Dahmerin Cam. Trying to squeeze a summary into 200 words from a 250k epic, that's been the most difficult thing. It totally is. And you have to fit a whole bunch of other information into your query as well, like why you think you're qualified to write the book, and you want to make it a slightly personal thing. Go with the plushie? Absolutely. I'm gonna pop AFK super quick and take a bio break, and when we come back, I will have plushy Dahmerin Cam ready to go for you. So I will see you all in a minute. got to get ready for other content stuff. Crisscross Applesauce, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll be sure to follow you. Sorry about the motion here. Let's get Domerin in that camera. Look at that. I want to say he's grumpy because we're not working on his story today, but he's always grumpy. This plushie was made for me by the lovely Lomi, also known as Beth Alvarez. She drops by on stream from time to time. She's also a fantasy author. Check her out. I commissioned this adorable solid snake, and she made me the Domerin plushie as a surprise. And she also made the steampunk hat that he is wearing, separately. But it's his now, because it fit him perfectly. Let me see if I can get him a little bit extra in frame there. Ooh, I can see his awesome armor. All right. No! The writing timer started without me. I wasn't ready. Oh my goodness. So, I did get a bit less done in that sprint because I was so worried about coming up with this cute little thing that I wanted to use in between. But we did finish that scene and start the new one. 351, that's low end sprint for me. But the most important thing is we finished the first scene and we've started the next scene. So basically in the first scene of the novel, it was Ciri and her mentor watching Aleath attempt to make progress down the streets. But something seems to be stopping her. So everyone in this village is sort of watching her. They don't want to get involved with her. And they are sort of talking about her identity as the daughter of a goddess. So now that we have sort of introed our main character from other people's perspective, now we're doing a in-depth perspective of our main character. So we've sort of zoomed in to her thoughts and her feelings, and now we're gonna find out sort of what is going on, because you can't really tell what's going on with her directly in the previous scene. It just sort of looks like something weird is happening. So now we're sort of going to find out what is actually happening with her by zooming in on her. And I don't think this will be a particularly long scene either. The first scene is about 1,300 words, which is perfect. Because like I said, it's just a little vignette to sort of intro the character. And so we're probably going to aim for, again, around 1,000 words or a little over that. Also, I don't know these characters super well yet. So I'm trying to get a sense of their character voices. This is probably going to lead to a lot more editing for these initial chapters later on. Because eventually I'll have a much more nuanced idea of how each of these characters narrate and what makes them feel unique compared to the other characters in the story. So I'm trying not to worry as much if these first couple scenes feel a little bit more generic, because these things will fill in later. The Tiger writes, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. How are you and what are you working on today? We're just about to start another sprint, so I might be quiet for a little while, but we will have lots of nice clicky clacky sounds. So let me just catch up to where I stopped here, because I think I missed something I wanted to add. do want to add something in here, something I missed. Nickelnut, hello. How are you? All right, let's turn on the timer and do the clicky clacks. I'm seriously resisting the urge to edit right now. I generally have a personal rule about not editing what I'm writing during first drafts. And sometimes it's hard to turn off that inner editor. I'll forever fight that struggle. My willpower stat is not quite as high. I mean, sometimes I do go back and make changes, but I'm aware that I'm already going slow with this draft because it's a new story, it's new characters, and I'm gonna slow myself down even more if I start going back and editing things. I mean, to each their own. I know people who edit while they write, and it's fine, but for me, just trying to spit the ideas out. Take care, Tiberian. Thanks for stopping by. I can already tell that this character is going to be one of those characters who feels a little bit more pretentious in her internal monologue, which is going to make her challenging to write. I'm going to turn off the Domerin cam and switch back to me. Just a moment so I don't give you all motion sickness. Moving the camera. Here we go. Hello again. trying to think of how I want to express this concept. I hope the writing is going well. QuickBooks customer support is making me want to scream. Writing is going pretty well, Bard. I think we might almost be done. I'm not going to finish in this sprint, obviously, because we've got 13 seconds left. But I do think one more sprint will carry us to the end of this scene. I don't even know if I need a full sprint. I might do a 10-minute. No, Bard, don't go! I wish I could help you. I don't know anything about QuickBooks. I set up my Discord of the rules and all. Nice, Kiki. That's always, it's always, there's always a lot of like fiddly little things that you have to do with the initial setup. And then once you get it, like, once you've got all that established, then it's much easier. This is kind of why I just borrowed my husband's Discord and tacked an extra little spot into there. So I think that was our best sprint yet. So we added this. And whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. Lol. Let's see. So we added 87 words now. 71 words there. And 717 there. So we pretty much did about 800 words. Let's see if I can. 788, so just shy 800. And we're getting pretty close to the end. We're at 2,379 total. I don't know if I'm gonna entirely hit 3,000 words for the opening of this, but I'm not too worried about it being a little bit shorter. Like I said, I think these first couple scenes are gonna be a little bit bite-sized to draw us into some of the more in-depth, and there's a lot of... We're kind of spending a lot of time on a couple of moments, so I don't want it to go on too long. I definitely think we're approaching the point where it's sufficient, and then if I feel like I need to fill out more of this later, I can. So I might actually do a smaller 10-minute timer. My break timer, it'll just say time for words at the end instead of break time. And I think that might let me fill it out. So we've basically... we're kind of seeing this same couple of seconds or couple of minutes from two different perspectives. We're seeing Aleith try to walk down the street while something stops her, and then we're experiencing why she's having this trouble, and also we're gonna see sort of what that leads to. And what's about to happen is she's basically going to be forcibly teleported somewhere against her will, and that's going to be the end of the first chapter. Gonna get going. I need to prepare for my own stream later today. I will most likely be a solo Starfinder RPG stream, thanks to the discussion earlier. Nice! Sandra, let me pop over and follow you. Let me pop you a follow right now so that I can come hang out with you later, and also... I want to give Chris Cause Applesauce a follow. Excellent, excellent. So great to meet so many new people today. And thank you so much for hanging out and sharing some RPG discussion with us. I really appreciate it. I hope your solo RPG goes well. I'll have to stop by and see, because like I said, I've become aware of them, but I've never actually tried one. So it would be interesting. Thanks, Kiki, for giving Sandra Wrights a follow as well. I'm super excited to check out one of your streams. I think, to me, the coolest thing about streaming or hanging out in streams is always getting to meet new writers, getting to hang out in their streams and see how they do things, and just chat and see where things go. Absolutely. I am definitely struggling a little bit more with getting words on a page today than I do sometimes, because, like I said, these characters are new, this world is new. I expected things to flow a little bit more easily, but I'm learning that I kind of have not connected to these characters as strongly yet, which... in retrospect, this is something that always happens at the beginning of a new project. It takes so much time to sort of get into a character's headspace and to be able to write them fluidly without having to think about it. But I'm also really happy with sort of how this has gone. I took inspiration from an old bit of writing, and I definitely feel like I've written something much cooler and much better now. And hopefully it's not going to need a ton of edits, but like I said, once I get more idea of who these characters are and what they actually, like how they actually think and what they actually want, it might be easier to come back and do the edits on this initial chapter. So yeah, I think if I get another 5 or so hundred words down, I'll be happy. It might not even take that much. And I'll be willing to call this done. So we're gonna try to do a 10-minute sprint and see if I can get finished. I'm trying to sprinkle some details about what's happening into the world without doing too much info dumping, but I'm also trying not to be super vague, which is also giving me a little bit of trouble. It is hard. I mean, again, some of this stuff will be easier to do in edits, like making sure I have the right information seeded and making sure it's clear at the right time what's actually happening. But I am trying to I'm trying to at least be aware of all of like what the story needs to make it easier on future me. So yeah, let's see. Oh, thank you for the stretch, Exiled Phase. Perfect timing, actually. Oh my goodness. I had so many weird dreams last night. So I'm a little bit in need of some stretching today. All right, let's do 10 minutes and see where that takes us. Lazo and Nadia were trying to catch me, and my birth mother was selling foxes for fur. Interesting. We actually just finished watching the end of What We Do in the Shadows, the new season, last night, so that was definitely on my mind too. And I've been watching this week's episode of Critical Role, which has been ultra intense, so I had dreams about that. And also just, you know, the usual random, like, you know, day-to-day things just slipping into your dreams and being ultra weird. I think I dreamed that Ghost and I had a stupid argument over something dumb. I don't even remember what it was. So I kind of woke up this morning and I was like, I could have slept better. All right, so the two scenes are roughly the same length now. So I'm going to wrap it up. Not that I'm specifically wrapping it up because I've reached a certain number of words, but this feels like a good place. Vinyl, hello, how are you? What are you up to today? We're just wrapping up the first chapter of this new book. It's going pretty well. It's been a bit slow, I think, because it's a new book, new characters, new everything. But I'm pretty happy with how it's going. So we're just gonna write the last couple paragraphs, I think, and wrap up for the day. How has the day treated you so far? Just doing some work things and stuff. I hope work is going well. I know midweek is usually midweek usually less busy for you versus the weekends, or has that sort of changed for this time of year? Midweek is slower, no people coming in today, so we are working on inventory and things that we can't really do when running appointments. That makes sense. That totally makes sense. forgotten a word again. Okay, perfect. I think that's going to be the end of this scene. I believe I have accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish with this. We did 2,862 words. 13th, hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for dropping by. What is up? I think this is a little bit shorter than I anticipated. I was hoping to hit at least 3,000 words. But I think I've touched on everything I wanted to touch on, and I don't feel like either of these scenes really need anything more. And for something that is a first time writing with characters who I maybe don't necessarily have as much attunement with their internal monologue as someone like Dameron, who I know so well that I can write literally everything that passes through his mind, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not too worried about the fact that it turned out shorter than I expected. We have one more main character to introduce that we will do tomorrow, because I believe, according to the outline that we did on stream, the next thing that we're gonna do is introduce Jalen, who is gonna be the third major player. I'm not entirely sure what I want that scene to look like, but it'll be interesting to come up with that. And then we will also hopefully get to write chapter 3 tomorrow, which will involve Elias actually confronting the people who have just sort of tormented her in this chapter. So I feel really good about how it started. I definitely was a bit slower and more hesitant with writing this than I usually am. But since I'm satisfied with the overall result, I think that's the most important thing. Probably it's time for me to consider lunch. So let's see who else is streaming. Sorry that we're wrapping up 13th, but please feel free to let us know what you're up to. And hopefully we'll catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming in the afternoon, so I'll be starting around 2:30 PST. Hopefully. Sometimes I'm a little closer to 3, but we'll be starting in the afternoon. And we'll be continuing this. And then I will be back again Thursday morning, same time slot, 10 o'clock in the morning, to write more of this. I'm hoping to get through the first 4 chapters this week, so it's 2 scenes each day. Some of them will hopefully be longer and flow a little bit better than this. But this was a pretty good first novel session, I think. I'm pretty satisfied with this as a start. So let's see who's around. And let me switch my headphones back to my computer so that I can hear what people are talking about. Let's see. Let's see, Bitzerk is around. And hopefully not wrapping up. I always end up rating Bitzerk when they're wrapping up, but let's see.
I will be fine. Usually I make do with just one, but...
So let's see. Let's drop in. If if we're rating Bitzerk at the end, then we will raid along with them again. But Bitzerk is super awesome, writes short fiction every day and posts it online. And we sort of have this tradition of somehow always rating each other when we're wrapping up. So let's see if we break the tradition today. Feel free to use any emotes that make you happy, of course, for the raid. And let's do it. Let's spread some of the love. I hope that if you were writing today, the words flowed for you, or editing, or whatever type of writing adjacent activity you were doing works out for you. If you're doing other work, I hope that it is smooth and easy for you as well. Thanks to Crisscross Applesauce for the raid, and also Sable and Con202. Super appreciate it. You're all amazing. I'm so glad to have met some new people today. Exiled Faye, I hope things are going well for you as well. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon for more of this. And hopefully it'll be awesome. You guys are amazing. You always make me so happy whenever I get to chat and hang out with you. So I hope to see you all again soon. And until then, take care.
Hey! Starborn Striker, thank you for the raid. Bless you. Now, if you're not